Hi again, we're at India Plus Social Good, where we've just finished a panel discussion on innovation, and we have two of the panelists here. And there's Susan from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Mr. Parasnis from the Pyramid Foundation to talk to us about how the discussion went. And Susan, what were the key takeaways for you from what just happened?
So one of the key things is that we have to think about innovation very broadly, not just in the narrow sense of technology, but innovation about scale. How do we reach the millions and millions of people we need to reach with these great health innovations, for example? How do we get different people engaged and create new kinds of partnerships? How do we get people to engage online and really understand the role that they as individuals might play in health? So it's thinking about innovation very broadly.
In healthcare, one hears about a lot of innovation that's happening, particularly with technology. So is all of it scalable?
Innovation, again, is, you can think about innovation in how you reach people and how you get people to demand change in their own lives. So innovation can come in many different forms.
You've been working in India with water and many issues there. So what role do you see technology and innovation play there?
Sure. So I think we've done a fair amount of technology innovation in the space of safe drinking water and in primary healthcare, which are the two areas under our healthcare vertical. I think, frankly, the role of that innovation, it's good to use that to establish a proof of concept. But I think in India, any issue that you look at in any development sector are so huge that unless we work at different levels on that innovation. Now, when I say different levels, it's not just different levels, so it's not just the central government or the state government or the community. That's one level. The other is to say that how does one take that proof of concept across wide geographies of the country? So how do we create partnerships to make these work, right? So how do you really build open source relationships to make partnerships work? How do you create consumer awareness and education? Because end of the day, in any of these changes, we're talking about a change in human behavior, right? So how do you bring about that kind of a change, and what role does communication and social media help us play in that? And ultimately, I think having demonstrated that this can work, how do you then make innovation really part of the government system? Because we really can't do anything in India without the government, because they have the programs, they have the funding. How does one internalize that within the government system? And I think a classic case is what has happened with HIV/AIDS. For instance, the Gates Foundation did in India. Avahan was the program. And I think over a period of time, the Gates Foundation stepped back and the government took it up as part of its own programs. I think that's, to me, is one of the biggest successes that one can ever hope to do. So how does one really take that innovation across different dimensions is what I would really focus on.
Can you tell us about your India experience in that context, and were there learnings here that you'd like to talk about?
There are lots of learnings. Paresh was talking about the Avahan program, which was a partnership between us and the government of India and many other partners. And we're really excited about the progress that we've seen. And actually, it has encouraged us to invest more, and we have programs in the state of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh that we're very excited about. Again, working with the governments in those places, working with the government of India more broadly, and other partners to come up with solutions and ideas that can help. For example, in Bihar, we have a program there called Ananya, where we're working with community health workers who go out into these rural areas and help women get access to health care, to health services. Women who may have never had any access to health care, having community health workers going out into their homes and teaching them about safe deliveries and healthy newborn care and immunization for their children. So we're very encouraged.
As an extension of that, I'd like to ask you if Indian corporates are doing enough. I mean, this is something, you had a foundation there, but is there enough being done? It's now going to be compulsory because of the changes in law, but do you think we are doing enough?
So I think it's a huge opportunity. And I think to take forward Susan's point, we really have a lot of public-private partnership models that have evolved, not just on the business side, but even in the development sector. But I think the opportunity for private-private partnership is huge. I don't think we have really done enough in India to kind of make that work. Because frankly, there's no point utilizing resources to duplicate efforts One might as well learn from each other's experiences and avoid the pitfalls that someone else has gone through, right? So the private opportunity is huge, but I think at the same time, I'm a little concerned about the fact that we are going to have something like 15,000 to 18,000 crores coming in as part of the annual CSR mandate every year into this sector. While we talk about the 3 million NGOs, do we have enough NGOs which have the absorptive capacity? I don't think so. So I think it's an opportunity, but at the same time, it's a challenge as to how does corporate India work with this sector. And whichever, whether it's healthcare, whether it's water, sanitation, that's really immaterial. But how does one create examples, models which can really go to scale and absorb that kind of money? I think is a huge challenge to start with.
It's a lot of big issues raised here today by our two speakers here. Thank you very much, Susan, and thank you, Mr. Parasnis. Thank you.